What's up, everybody? Jed Johnson here from DieselCrew.com. Of course, you know they call me Napalm. This is day 30 in the 31 days of Q&A. And I just want to say, if you go to my store, the link's in the description box, and put in the code NYW10, then you can get 10% off your purchase at the store. It's for New Year's weekend, so it's good and right through the New Year's holiday. It ends on Tuesday at midnight. So go there right now and pick up a product, and maybe it'll be the first one you've ever picked up. If so, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. If you've already picked up stuff from the past and you know the quality that my products have, they're going to help you out with your training tremendously. And many of my products are highly specific towards goals that you want to achieve, whether it's building muscle somewhere in your body, building strength somewhere in your body, a grip feat that you want to work on, whether it's grippers, card tearing, pinching, blob lifting, inch dumbbell, all that stuff. So check out the description box, click the link, and use the discount code NYW10 at checkout. You'll get 10% off your order. For video 30 in the 31 days of Q&A, I've got a response to one of the questions and then a couple follow-up items that are related to another question I did earlier in the month. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So the question is, a random question I thought of: do taller people tend to have better grips than short people as a general rule because of longer and larger hands? I will say that a larger-handed individual definitely has the potential for better performance in grip lifts because of their larger hands. Now, I touched on this in one of the videos, and I have no idea what it was. But I have a brother-in-law whose hands are bigger than mine, and I have a, what do you call it, cousin-in-law? How's that work when some dude's married to your female cousin? Anyway, that dude's got hands that are way bigger than mine. I've had them try the inch dumbbell before. Neither of them can even get it off the ground. So it's no guarantee that someone with extremely large hands is going to be able to outperform you tremendously right away, even on thick bar lifts. However, I would go to say that probably, safe estimate, 90% of the grip lifts in the events and contests favor large hands. So they have the potential to do better because of their hand size, their coverage over an implement, and the surface and purchase that they can get on something. But they still have to train their hands in order to be strong enough to do it. It's not going to be a guarantee that they're just going to blow away every feat and pick everything up that they want to. It's just not a guarantee, but they have the potential, if they train properly, bring up their hand strength, to pull off these feats probably quicker than someone with really small hands. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, there are some lifts, like I said, it's 90% or so that favor larger hands. There are some lifts where large hands become a bit of a detriment. So I'm going to point to things like really small key pinch lifts, hub lifts, things like that, where a smaller, more compact hand is probably going to do better on those. I'll say they have potential to do better than larger handed people on those events. So that's why we use weight classes in grip sport to try to even things out, and have people competing against people with their own hand size. But it's not perfect. And I've said over the years, I tried to rally the troops, if you will, around using hand size categories, and there wasn't a lot of buy-in, even by people with smaller hands. So that's why for Worldwide Grip Battle Brass Knuckles, I've got things divided up somewhat by hand size. So if you go back a week or so on my channel and you'll find that video, you'll see how I've got it laid out as far as the structure for the top place finishers. So I hope that answers your question. Now I want to go back in my screenshots because I want to touch back on something. I think this is a good time to do it before I forget. If you remember, there was a question about why the climbers are coming in and dominating in grip sport. And I talked about the fact that they are using their hands already a great deal. They're already conditioned and they're already strong. So once they find out proper placement, proper technique, how to execute these lifts, a lot of times they already have a head start and they end up doing very well. So what I did is I reached out to Joe Hodgson. He's one of the people who came from a climbing background and entered into the ranks of grip sport and started doing well at a very high level right away. And these were some of the things that that he pointed to, and he did ask me to point out that he's not a coach, he's not an expert, he's just got some experience with this in both fields and thinks he has a good idea of some of the indicators or some of the traits that climbers bring with them that help them be so good at grip sport. He says, this is an interesting question, and for any relatively high-level climber, they have very strong tendons, ligaments, and joints. So I know from doing some YouTube research recently that tendon strength is built with time under tension. So if you think about it, man, there's not much more time under tension than hanging on the side of a rock. Like I said, I've never really done it, but I can only imagine the time under tension that is taking place on some of these holds, hangs, transitions, things along those lines. He says they enjoy pain, or at least they can deal with it, which that's really important too, because they've been through pain, they've been through that stress, and you know, grip training isn't always the most comfortable type of training. So when you're used to dealing with pain, you've developed a pain tolerance, then when you go into a new sport that involves pain, it's not something that's going to push you away. So that's huge. I never thought about that. He says climbers are often typically very competitive. And, you know, that's a great point as well that I didn't think about. It's huge because I think a lot of people in grip sport, they are not as competitive as they should be. So a lot of people are not interested in competition. They sign up and they look at it as an opportunity to have fun. And I honestly do not have fun in a grip competition. It is not my idea of fun to have a grip competition or go to a grip competition because I want to win. I'm more competitive. I don't care if it's fun or not. I don't care if it's if I'm not enjoying my time. The fun for me is completing feats. The fun for me is training and interacting with people, and especially after the training is done for the day, and then you run through some cool stuff, try to do some stunts with feats. The time after the contest where you're just pulling stuff out and trying to lift stuff that you've never tried before, or try to do things that you've never done with implements before, combo lifts, take advantage of opportunities that you wouldn't normally have, and take advantage of the adrenaline that you wouldn't normally have because you're in a group with people. You're in a group of people that you don't always get a chance to interact with. And then, you know, some person can maybe pull something off that you haven't done and you're like, damn, I got to step my game up. So that's fun for me, and it's also another form of competition. So great point from Joe on that one. He says they usually train for higher than body weight. So I didn't ask for clarification on that one. Maybe I should have. I think what he's talking about is instead of just doing pull-ups and hangs with their body, they're adding weight to their body, maybe with chains, maybe with a dip belt and weight hanging off, maybe it's kettlebells looped over their feet, or they're clenching onto a med ball with their legs, but they are training beyond their body weight. So it gives them a stimulus above their body weight, which makes them even stronger. So that's a great point as well. He says very strong upper arms from years of weighted chin-ups, so beyond body weight, and weighted body weight rows. So that's incredible because the arms are huge for grip sport. So it's not just grip. If you can involve your arms in some of these lifts, it really helps you big time. It's something that a lot of people do not realize, and it's something that I preach very heavily with my coaching clients and on thegripauthority.com. And if you think about it, when you're doing pull-ups and rows, it's not just arms, it's also shoulders and back. Both of these things are huge for containing your technique. I see a lot of times where it's very clear that a person has a weakness and they're just using their hands to lift something, when in reality they have to pull in more muscle recruitment from the rest of their upper body in order to pull something off successfully. He says, I think this may be one of the most important things, is that we usually have very strong extensors too. So that very well may be the case. I don't know. I've never talked to a climber about their extensors, but it's coming straight from, this information is coming right straight from a climber. Just some of my thoughts in case you were still wondering. So that was great, Joe. Thank you very much for sharing that information. And another thing that I wanted to mention was, in that discussion, I was having trouble remembering the name of one of that Canadian climber that's a young dude. I think he might be like 20 or 21 years old. And Brad Provic put his name down. Carter Colleux, Colleaux, looks like a French influenced name. So I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that. Carter Colleux. And he highlights he's the best 83 kilogram gripster in North America, according to Eric Russain's North American rankings. He's from Saskatchewan, Canada, monster strength. And that dude is insane. He put up huge numbers for not really being aware of him. He surprised me as well as many others with his strength, and he's got the climbing background. So that was some of the stuff that I wanted to cover as far as a follow-up on that climbing question. I hope you enjoyed that as well. Thank you for Joe for sending me those tidbits. Thanks to Brad for posting Carter's name. And I guess that'll be it for the video. So day number 30 in the books. Give it one of these, everybody. Be sure to subscribe. Where are we at? Let's get an update on where we're at for subscribers. We need 9 to get to 15,000. We're at 14,991. We got a day or two left in order to get there. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And as I get more questions, I'm logging them. So for as many questions as I get, I'm going to still continue to do Q&As. They may not end up being daily. Maybe I'll go weekly. What do you think would be the best day for me to put up Q&As? Leave a comment below and let me know what would work best, because this seems to have been really popular. I want to keep it going. And as long as they keep coming in, then I'll keep covering them. Thanks a lot, everybody. All the best in your training. Take care.